Some gang members who are serving prison sentences are now using an ancient language to try to keep control of their criminal activities on the outside. They're sending out messages written in the 1,400-year-old Aztec language. News 13's Crystal Gutierrez has more on that from the Newsplex. Crystal?
And Dick, the inmates are not the only experts in this language. Every day, correction officers talk to detectives who patrol your streets, sharing information they get through these letters.
It may be nothing more than a small locked port into each cell, but for inmates, it's their window to the outside world.
Letters being sent in, sent out from the streets.
Captain Joe Lytle says that's how some inmates still try to call the shots for crimes to be committed in your neighborhood. Everything from drug sales to hits, all to keep the gang they claim strong. And it all can trickle down to violence on the streets and property crime. But deciphering their next call, the gang's next move, means taking detective work back hundreds of years.
It's a language that these inmates have become accustomed to using. They call it the Aztec language, the Natal language.
Letters written in Natal, a language Lytle says originated 1,400 years ago from Mexico among Aztec tribes. They are now circulating state prisons. Some corrections officers have now become decoders.
The note translated as, "Here, brother soldier, the Constitution that is written in stone. When you see me again outside, tell me if you agree."
Just a few months ago, this letter surfaced. Officers say the Constitution mentioned is for a possible new gang, so far linked to 30 inmates. Prison officials say they're working with outside detectives to determine if a new gang has emerged on the streets too.
The more organized they are, the harder they become to break.
And Lytle says where there are gangs, there is crime on the streets, some being controlled from members, even leaders, locked up inside.
I have a whole book on it from one particular inmate that we have, describing different hits, different drug activity. It is a public safety issue all the way around.
And corrections officers say the inmates learned the language from other more experienced inmates. Since the officers have learned many of the words too, they say the group start mixing in more slang. Back to you.
All right, Crystal, corrections officials say the Aztec language is primarily used at the Santa Fe State Pen because that is where more hardcore gang members are housed.